go.
Yeah, I know being in the Sunflower League, you hear a lot of talk, which league is better, the EKL, the Sunflower League. I mean, I think we have some great coaches and some great teams in the Sunflower League too, but I know, being in the EKL, it is a little bit tougher of a schedule. I mean, I feel like, you got Blue Valley over there, who is historically one of the best programs in our area, has been doing it at a high level for a long time. Blue Valley North in recent years has been really good. I mean, they had a really good quarterback. Graham Mertz, a kid that you
we
coached.
know Graham real well.
That just happened to kind of run into a little bit of bad luck. Being behind putts over there. So the EKL is tough, and you hear that banner goes back and forth. I like to think the Sunflower League's a little tougher, but last year with Gardner coming over, they were 0-9 the year before, and then they come over and win the Sunflower League. So, it's tough to really say, which league is better year in and year out.
Oh, yeah. I think it is hard to look at it, but you look – I think that's what we've seen in the whole Kansas City area. There's good coaches everywhere, and I think that's what we see in the Sunflower League now. I know talking over at Cheyenne Mission East, with one of my good buddies, Justin Hoover, now the head coach over there. I think you get a guy like that with his resume, and the things he's done, and you get him to lead, and you see the success that he was able to maintain over there. Walking into a pretty hard situation, I think Justin was able to kind of get it right and kind of get some stability in there, which was really good to do. And then you look at some. There's a bunch of other guys in that league. Coach Callahan's a state champion over at Cheyenne Mission West, and there's just a lot of guys I think in this area. And as a young coach, I still at times it's weird kind of bumping into some of those guys, thinking, wait a minute, you were coaching high school football when I was playing, and now I'm here with you. And I think it's cool to see that and to kind of see the way those guys gravitate to and. I know, you get guys like Gene Weir and, Jeff Myers and Bob Lisher, those guys.
Yeah.
They're now on the same staff at William Chrisman, but, now you see them and you talk to those guys and you use those guys. And that's what's good about, I think, this area, too, is no matter what league, EKL, Sunflower, everybody wants the football in this area to be good. So I think every coach, old, young, new, old, is willing to help each other out and make sure that, the brand of football we have here is still pretty good.
Yeah, that's one thing I've definitely noticed. Any coach I've reached out to and said, hey, how have you guys taught this? Or not necessarily talking scheme, but just maybe some individual stuff with players. How do you teach this? Or what pass rush moves do you teach guys? Or guys are always willing to share that stuff. Nobody's ever going to fully open the playbook. That is part of what we do, but. The just the scheme and the individual and just those type things. I think everybody's willing to share.
Absolutely, and that's one thing. That's one thing I study every offseason. As I, look at different high school programs, different college programs, who does things well, and how they do those things. And kind of like you said, it's not going to be necessarily the scheme and how you teach it, but there's going to be different ins and outs of it that you may be able to bring back to your program. And that's something. I've talked with a few guys I think that have given me some good things, and that's it. That's what someone told me a long time ago. The day that you think you know everything as a coach is the day to retire.
Yeah.
I think there's always stuff to learn, and there's always stuff to get better, and that's where I think that's where we are as a program. You can't stay the same. You always got to get better because everybody else is.
Yeah. Last year you renewed the rivalry with Rockhurst, kind of right across the state line. We played those guys, too, a couple times in the last few years. But how was that for you to kind of renew that, the two biggest Catholic high schools here in the area? And how was that to renew that rivalry?
Yeah, I think it was awesome. I think it was a dream of Coach Grunhard's, too. I think when, he took over the program, that's what he wanted to do, was to be able to do that and get that game going. So, it obviously stunk not having him on the sideline with us, but, I think that was cool to get that going. I think it was funny. I think Coach Sev had been there 37 years, and I'm only 35 years old, so he's been coaching at Rockhurst longer than I was alive. But I think to see that environment and to see that atmosphere was something I'm never going to forget. Now, obviously, I'd like to forget how the game ended, but, I think to see – kind of how the whole city, I think, brought onto that and was able to see that and rally around it. The tailgate party at the St. Agnes parking lot had like 2,000 people at it. We had a deck by by the field sell for $8,000 at an auction to watch the game.
We heard about that.
Yeah, I heard about that.
I mean,
who did we do? We did a show with somebody and he was talking about that.
Yeah, I can't.
It was Randy, right?
Withers?
Yeah.
I mean,
might have been talking about that.
I mean, it's high school football, and I think you get that type of thing going and that type of excitement. And I know that's, first walking on the field, I think when I saw Coach Sev, that's what both of us said is, I mean, who could imagine that? I mean, we brought in portable bleachers all over the place, which was crazy to see how the stadium looked. Our stadium didn't even look the same. But, it was packed and filled to the brim. But it was one of those that, hopefully, we can keep it going. I know our plan is to renew it for at least 2 more years after this year and, try to keep it going as best as we can and, with us in the EKL and, hopefully we're going to be able to keep that thing going because it's definitely, I think, something that's really good for the whole city to see.
Yeah, I definitely think that, that's a top matchup that people want to see, and even maybe people that are just average high school football fans are going to say, hey, Miege and Rockhurst are playing tonight. That's a game I should probably go check out or, to have it on TV. And, I mean, the atmosphere over there was crazy. I know, when we played them in 16 the first time over there, I coached at Avila for 2 years, and I tell people there was more people in Rockhurst Stadium that night than every game I coached in as an assistant at Avila because that's where we played our home games back at that time. I mean, it was, packed to the brim and just, it's a great environment. Their fans travel well, your fans travel well, and I'm sure a lot of alumni were back and, just excited about that.
Oh, yeah, and too, I think at least I think we saw it that night. It was 2 schools that I think really respect each other. Obviously, I mean, we respect the heck out of what Coach Sev's done at Rockhurst, and I think it's vice versa. I think they see some things we've done over there, and I think it showed with the crowds because I think, there are a lot of Miege Rockhurst people there, but there are also just a lot of Kansas City high school football fans there, who wanted to see a good game, and hopefully we were able to, show them a good game and, all that. And we're hoping kind of for the same type of crowd over at Rockhurst this year.
So I specifically remember me and my wife were shopping. I think she was shopping, and I had the game on my phone. I had found the live stream. Somebody would put it on YouTube or something, and I remember just sitting there, and my wife's like, "Oh, you like this?" I was like, "Yeah, that's good, great." It was a great game. It was awesome, and you could see the atmosphere come through. When you're watching it. So I hope you guys keep that going as long as you can.
It'd be a good one. It was definitely one of those games that, I mean, it's a crazy atmosphere, and that's what high school football is all about, playing in games like that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's what, really makes it fun. And for some of those kids, that's the biggest crowd they're ever going to play in front of.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, you've had some players go on and play at some really big schools, and they're going to get to be in front of big crowds. But, some of those guys are not going to quite make it to play college football, or maybe they'll play smaller college football. And I mean, for them to be in an atmosphere like that with a packed stadium and just fans everywhere, I mean, that's amazing for them, those kids too.
It's one, I think, still talking around to those kids is something that they'll never forget, good, bad, or whatever. I mean, it's one of those atmospheres that you're always going to remember. I mean, it's the craziest atmosphere I've ever played or coached in. Yeah. And that includes a lot of games against Aquinas and some other teams that we felt the atmospheres were great. It was just something different too. And I think we hadn't played since like '86 or '87 too. So I think on top of that kind of brought the extra atmosphere, I think, in with it.
Yeah.
All right, Coach. How has the summer work been?
Yeah, I think it's been good. I think that's one thing that's really changed in the last 10 years is what we do in the summer. I think the rules Keisha has for us, they allow us to do a lot of things, which is good and bad. I think it's good because it allows you, essentially for the coaches that dislike how we don't have spring ball, in April and May, June and July for those 8 weeks is our spring ball. You get your practices with your guys, you get, scrimmages with other teams, and you go to other college camps and things like that. So it's been good. I think our numbers have been good. We're getting 85, 90 guys a day over there with us. So, I think that helps. And it's, I think it's one reason, too, where we've been able to do some of the things we've done because of how many guys are dedicated to it in the summer. We're not trying to find guys. We know where they're at. If they're not with us, we know where they are.
Yeah.
And I think that's important, too. And I think that's all part of the culture we've built. With the expectation. Our expectation is obviously to try to win a state championship every year, and we can't do it if we don't know where we are in June and July.
Yeah, a lot of people don't understand that about high school football. I mean, yes, the games are played in the fall, but essentially the foundation for how good you're going to be in the fall is built in June and July.
Absolutely. I'll agree with that 100%. I think you get to learn a lot about your kids, because obviously we push them a little bit in June and July and challenge them with different things and see who reacts to adversity a certain way. And, I think the more you can do that in the summer, the easier it is in the fall when you face adversity. I think it's easier for you to, do something in June and July with them with the conditioning drill to kind of push their tolerance a little bit and see what they can handle. And obviously, I think with the way the game's changing with the safety wise too, I think it allows you to instruct it and teach it more too, to where you're going to make it safer. You're going to teach them how to tackle the right way, how to block the right way, and all those things, and you're able to do it a lot more in the summer now.
Yeah, I that's one thing I've really enjoyed this summer is, really the past couple summers, but, changing the way we are teaching tackling, because the game of football is under attack, from people. But I like to say the helmets are better than they ever have been. We're teaching tackling better than it's ever been taught. And, we all, as coaches, good coaches, we try to do the work it takes to find out what's the best way to tackle to keep the head out of it. Yep. To keep our kids safe.
Yep.
And, the equipment's better, and we're teaching it better. And not that, people that taught it previously, were teaching it wrong. They just didn't know. We didn't know.
Yeah. Yep.
Now that we have all the research and we know, the game just keeps getting safer. And every year it's going to be a little bit safer than it was the year before.
Oh, yeah. I think the game's as safe as it's been. I think the rule changes that you've seen, at the high school level with the blindside blocking, making sure you're blocking with your hands out in front. You're not lowering your shoulder into guys. Those are those hits that I think the fans like to see, but those are also the ones that you could hurt kids on. And those have kind of peeled back. Those aren't in the game as much anymore. And, change the way you tackle. I think you look at what the NFL does and, the different types of clinics and coaching education they give to high school coaches.
Yep.
Here in town with the Kansas City Chiefs and the, KU Med Center and how they've teamed together, and they offer these clinics, for high school coaches where they talk to trainers, talk to doctors about the importance of teaching tackling the right way and teaching it and learning the way that the pros are doing it. I think as a high school coach, I know it validates it a lot easier when you say, hey, this is how Kansas City Chiefs are doing it.
Yep.
This is how the Dallas Cowboys are doing it. I think then the kids see that and they see it, and then they turn their game on Sunday and they see a guy do the same thing they're doing in their games on Friday night. So, I think that's the way the football community is, though. Everybody, we talked about it earlier, everybody's willing to share good ideas. And, I think the safety of the game is what's really, as a coach, now as a parent, I think it's good to see kind of the way that that's going, and it's definitely trending to be a lot more safer in future years.
Yeah, and even, the last 10 years, I've been coaching, this will be year 17, and even from the way I taught tackling 17 years ago when I started, as a young kid who didn't know anything, and then the way we're teaching tackling now has changed. And, just really in the last 5 to 8 years, just all the research and everything that's came out. And, like you said, the NFL teams are willing to say, hey, this is how it needs to be done. This is how we're doing it to help our guys. And, everything's going to trickle down, to the high school level and hopefully, the Pee Wee level, and get guys taught the right way so that it does stay safe.
Oh, yeah. That's the way. I know we've talked with youth coaches, and I have youth coaches reach out all the time, and it's kind of funny laughing. You look back at how you used to teach tackle and throwing your head across the body, and now you're teaching head on the same side. You're teaching to keep your head out of the tackle, and those are things when you watch the way guys played in the past. That's not how it was taught, and kind of crazy to see how different it is now, though. But it definitely, it makes sense why they're doing it.
Yeah.
And, I think the way the Pee Wee and all the USA football leagues and all that I've done with the youth, I think it's definitely going to help the game. Especially with the public image of the game too. I think it's going to help make it safer and make sure parents feel comfortable letting their kids play football.
Yeah. So how? Talk about a little bit about the work ethic of the players that you do see go on to play at large college level versus small college level, and then maybe some guys that don't necessarily get the opportunity to play college ball. The work ethic difference in those guys.
Yeah, I think we've been lucky enough at Miege to coach some guys that are playing at really high levels. And I think you see and you look back when those kids were in high school, they were always the last guys in or the guys coming in to get extra work. You got Jaimin Colbert, Jafar Armstrong, Colin Grunhard, Landry Weber, Ryan Willis. I mean, there's a bunch of guys. That list goes on and on.
Mm-hmm.
Those are always the guys that would want to get extra work. But then you look at other guys that are playing, even at the Division II level. I mean, it takes work to do it. It takes dedication to do it. And, I think the best part for me as a coach is when you see a kid come back, for spring break, winter break, summer break, and text you to, open up the weight room. Hey, coach, can you open it up?